Welcome to day 2 of the NFL draft. We're going to get you caught up on the second round that's already in the books. And now they have just started the third round. They're about 7 picks in. And so we're going to be doing that. And at the same time, there is a crazy baseball game that started here, at least a potentially crazy baseball game. Pirates, Dodgers, Skeens versus Yamamoto. So I'm going to be listening to that in the background as well. I thought about covering that, but we have to cover the draft here first. So we're not going to have the scrolling banner here tonight because there's just too many picks compared to what it is, but we'll try to post some picks here as we go. So I'm going to just run through really quickly, get everybody caught up on round 2. We'll tell you who drafted who and where they're from and positions and all that. As you come on in, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, and then we'll spend a little time digging into the Miami Dolphins pick. The Dolphins actually traded up to get a guy, and we'll talk about him briefly, and then we'll go over him more in depth, do some digging there as well. So appreciate everybody. This is MetropoliFins, we're YouTube's smallest New York Mets and Miami Dolphins channel. Of course, the Mets just suffered a brutal loss against the Nationals. They came back to take the lead in the 8th and then blew it in the 9th. So kind of a bummer of a game there. But nonetheless, we're moving on to football here, where it's pretty hard to lose in the draft unless you pick absolutely horribly. All right, round 2. Round 2, the Cleveland Browns selected with pick 1, Carson Schlesinger from UCLA. Pick 2 was Jaden Higgins, went to the Houston Texans. He's from a wide receiver from Iowa State. Pick 3, the Seahawks grabbed Nick Emanwari from South Carolina, a safety. Pick 4, Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State, a running back, went to the Cleveland Browns. Again, of course, Cleveland had 2 of the first 4 picks from trading back from that higher position yesterday. Then this is where the Dolphins hopped in. They jumped in and they traded up to get an offensive guard, Jonah Savaiinaea. I haven't heard it said, so I don't know exactly what it is. But Jonah Savaiinaea out of Arizona, an offensive guard. He's a good guy. There were lots of rumors that it was the pick that the Patriots wanted, so they moved up to jump right ahead of the Patriots, grab their guy there. Then the Patriots, with the 6th pick in the second round, picked Trevion Henderson, a running back out of Ohio State. The Bears, with a 7th pick, took Luther Burden III from Missouri. Good evening, Deanne. How's it going? We're going through all the picks of the second round of the draft, getting everybody caught up. He's a wide receiver from Missouri. The 8th pick in the second round, the New Orleans Saints did pick a quarterback, but it was not Shedeur Sanders. They picked Tyler Show out of Louisville. So quarterback from Louisville, Tyler Show. And then with the 9th pick, the Buffalo Bills picked TJ Sanders from South Carolina, a defensive tackle. And then the 10th pick, the Jets picked Mason Taylor, tight end out of LSU. 11th pick, Alfred Collins went to the San Francisco 49ers. He's a defensive tackle from Texas. Then a pair of edge rushers were selected at the 12th pick in the second round. Donovan Izeruku, I probably botched that, out of Boston College. And the 13th pick, JT Tumalo from Ohio State, also an edge rusher. How's it going, Wyatt? All right, then continuing on in the second round, the 14th pick went to the Rams. Terrence Ferguson, a tight end out of Oregon, so kind of had like a little run on edge rushers and tight ends. Number 15 pick was Will Johnson, a cornerback from Michigan. Larry Bird, go Patriots. How do you like the Patriots draft so far? Lucas, how's it going? I'm trying to see the logo there. How's it going, Ruby? How's it going, Wyatt? How's it going, Joe? Welcome, everybody. We're glad that you guys are here. We are covering the NFL draft here tonight. We just got done covering the Mets loss, unfortunately. This is MetropoliFins, we're YouTube's smallest New York Mets Miami Dolphins channel. My name is Craig. So we're just going through the second round draft picks, getting caught up on that. And then once we're all caught up on draft picks, we'll start doing a deep dive on the Dolphins pick, as well as anybody else that you guys want. Will Johnson, a cornerback from Michigan. He fell a really long way. Some had him as a first-round pick, and he fell mid-second round. Ariante Ursary out of Minnesota, the offensive tackle, went to the Houston Texans. Then, for the 17th pick of the second round, 49th overall. Demetrius Knight Jr. out of South Carolina. A linebacker went to the Bengals. Fins up, baby! Yeah, so we're doing the draft. We're doing draft coverage here. Thank you for the sub, Ruby. Appreciate it so much. So I'm just getting caught up because I had baseball practice for my son tonight, and then we did the Mets game, so now we're just getting caught up on all the picks. All right, then the 50th pick overall out of Miami, a tight end, Elijah Arroyo, went to the Seattle Seahawks. He was one of Cam Warner's favorite targets. All right, then the 51st pick in the draft, the Carolina Panthers picked Nick Scorton, an edge out of Texas A&M. And then with the 52nd pick, the Tennessee Titans picked Olufemi Olajado. I probably botched that one bad. He's an edge out of UCLA. Then from Notre Dame, Benjamin Morrison, the cornerback, went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Anthony Belton from NC State, the offensive tackle, went to the Packers. Trey Harris, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss, went to the Chargers. Ozzie Trapilo from Boston College, an offensive tackle, went to the Bears. Tate Rutledge, an offensive guard from Georgia, went to the Lions. Then pick 58 was Jack Beck out of TCU, a wide receiver, went to the Raiders. Pick 59, Mike Green, an edge out of Marshall, went to the Baltimore Ravens. Pick 60 in the draft was R.J. Harvey, a running back out of UCF, went to the Broncos. 61, Washington Commanders picked Trey Amos, a cornerback out of Ole Miss. 62, the Chicago Bears picked Shamar Turner, a defensive tackle from Texas A&M. Pick 63, the Kansas City Chiefs picked Omar Norman Lott, a defensive tackle out of Tennessee. And pick 64, the final pick in the second round was Andrew Makuba, a safety out of Texas. So if you missed any of that, you're going to have to go rewind and do that because I'm not going to read through all of those again. All right, now the seventh round, and by the way, Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, the quarterback, is still on the board. And I think the lower he goes, the more likely you might see the Dolphins jump at him. I can see a scenario where the Dolphins take him, especially looking. Now, the Dolphins don't have any picks in this third round, and so I don't know if he's going to make it out of the third. But here's the picks in the third round so far. The first pick in the third round, the Giants picked Darius Alexander, a defensive tackle out of Toledo. And then with the second pick, the Kansas City Chiefs grabbed Ashton Galat, an edge out of Louisville. Pick 3 was Harold Fannin Jr., a tight end out of Bowling Green, went to the Cleveland Browns. Pick number 4, Darian Porter, cornerback from Iowa State, went to the Raiders. Pick 5, Kyle Williams out of Washington State, a wide receiver there, went to the Patriots. Pick 6, Isaac Tesla. Out of Arkansas, a wide receiver, went to the Detroit Lions. So the Lions adding another weapon there. Pick 7 was Vernon Broden, a defensive tackle from Texas, went to the New Orleans Saints. And then number 8, the Buffalo Bills selected Landon Jackson, an edge out of Arkansas. And the most recent pick on the board, pick number 9, was Azariah Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State, went to the New York Jets. So that's a lot of stuff, a lot of different stuff going on. So let me know how your team is doing, what picks you are liking of your team. We're going to do a little bit of a deep dive just like we did last night. Of course, we're going to keep an eye on all the picks. Currently, the Denver Broncos are on the clock. Okay, Denver Broncos are on the clock. Their pick is in. ESPN says the best available is Siobhan Revel Jr., a cornerback out of East Carolina. They have him ranked in 31 overall. They say the best fit for the Broncos is Jared Wilson, a center out of the University of Georgia. So we'll see. As soon as we have that pick, we will let you know. But while we wait for that pick to officially come through, we're going to start doing a little bit of a deep dive on the Dolphins pick from round 2. The Dolphins traded up to get Jonah Savalanaya. We're going to go with that. Jonah Savalania. Here's his pre-draft analysis. So then we'll dig a little bit more. If there's any other draft picks you guys want me to dig on outside of Dolphins, please let me know. We will gladly dig into as many as we can get to. We're still waiting for that Denver Broncos pick to come in. This was his pre-draft analysis from ESPN. Savalania lined up at right tackle, left tackle, and right guard in college. At the combine, he tied for the second fastest. All right. The Denver Broncos picked Pat Bryant, a wide receiver out of Illinois. Pat Bryant, wide receiver out of Illinois. Next pick, we'll go to the San Francisco 49ers. How's it going, Vitalik? All right, Savalania. I don't know. Maybe there's no L in there. My eyes are getting buggy. Savalania lined up at right tackle, left tackle, and right guard in college. The combine, he tied for the second fastest 10-yard split, 1.72 out of the offensive lineman, and ran a 4.95 40-yard dash. Those are impressive numbers for an offensive lineman, especially one who weighs 324 pounds. He played guard in 4 games in 2023 and is a better pass blocker on the inside than a tackle. Savalania, his length and frame make it tough to get around him when he plays inside. He moves well enough to mirror when his footwork is sound. He's strong enough to anchor when he wins with his hands. He's primarily played offensive tackle, and he can provide depth there in the NFL. He's not a fundamentally sound run blocker, but he is big enough to wall off defenders and strong enough to get push. Miami's offensive line needs attention after Teron Armstead retired, with the interior positions particularly needing an upgrade, even after signing James Daniels. I had Savalania ranked number 69, so this represents a reach, but the interior offensive line class has largely been wiped out. The Dolphins' trade to move up clearly shows they saw this as a priority and Savalania as a value. So that's what we got so far. But what I like to do, he's out of Arizona, by the way. So an offensive guard out of Arizona. Yeah, they mentioned something, Jonathan, that they were impressed with how Nemo came back to get that hit after making the boneheaded play. It sounds like it was just not a clean played game for the Mets overall. You know, it's just umpires made mistakes. I think Mendoza made a mistake. Nemo made a mistake. The bats weren't super hot out of the gate. Just, of course, that one inning, the 8th. So, it hurts, but it doesn't hurt as bad when you have one of the best records in baseball. Like, okay, you got to bounce back. By the way, if you're a baseball fan and you want to watch some baseball, I highly recommend tuning into this Pittsburgh Pirates Los Angeles Dodgers games. Is Paul Skeens versus Yamamoto. I'm not going to be covering it on here, but I am listening to it as well while I'm covering draft stuff. All right. The San Francisco 49ers picked Nick Martin, a linebacker out of Oklahoma State. It's sold their soul to sweet potatoes. It was worth it. All right, so Nick Martin, linebacker out of Oklahoma State, went to the San Francisco 49ers. That was pick 13 in round 3. The Dallas Cowboys are on the clock. ESPN says Siobhan Revel Jr. is the best overall, and Jalen Noel, a wide receiver out of Iowa State, is the best match for the Cowboys. And they do go with the best overall, which is Siobhan Revel Jr., cornerback out of East Carolina. All right, I'm going to do a little more digging on Jonah Savalania. Again, I'm probably saying his name wrong here. Let's look up Jonah Savalania, Arizona. ESPN officially now has Shedeur Sanders as the best available undrafted player. Not that that matters anything to these teams individually. They say best fit for the Carolina Panthers on the clock is Kevin Winston Jr., a safety out of Penn State. I would not imagine the Panthers would draft Shedeur Sanders. How's it going, KC? Good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. All right. I like going to the pages where that cover the actual colleges these guys are from. I'm telling you, I wasn't opposed to the Dolphins taking them yesterday. Draft them at the bottom of the first round. I don't mind the Dolphins trading up to the NAVM here. He becomes just a better and better value, and then you're going to get a guy who's got he wants to prove everybody wrong. I love it. I think if I was a team that did not love my quarterback situation, I would be doing it. All right, the Carolina Panthers pick Princely Umanmielen. Princely Umanmielen, an edge out of Ole Miss. Princely Umanmielen, an edge out of Ole Miss. All right, on the clock is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals are on the clock. All right, this is an article on the Miami Dolphins second-round pick, Jonah Savaiinaea, from an Arizona sports website. So I like digging into more about what the local people say rather than what actual Dolphins fans say, because Dolphins fans don't know anything. They have names that they like or whatever. But I want to know kind of what the people who watch these guys said. So Arizona's Jonah Savaiinaea, and again, my apologies if I'm saying the name wrong. I haven't heard it spoken. He was selected 37th overall in the second round of the 2025 NFL draft by the Miami Dolphins. He became the second Wildcat drafted, joining wide receiver Teteroa McMillan, who was selected 8th overall by the Carolina Panthers. Savaiinaea played 36 games in his 3 seasons with the Wildcats. In his junior season, he led Arizona with an offense grade of 75.9 per PFF. He played 138 snaps, allowed 4 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, and 10 hurries. As a sophomore, he allowed only 2 sacks and 888 snaps and started in 13 games. Savaiinaea was a big contributor in 2023 as he finished second on the team with a 69.7 overall blocking grade. That helped the Wildcats' offense average 444 yards per game. Arizona also had the 8th-ranked passing offense, which averaged 308.3 yards per game, which is good because this Miami Dolphins offense is designed to be explosive, and so you got a guy who's played a line in an offensive. What scouts are saying: the junior offensive tackle impressed scouts at the Senior Bowl by showing off his versatility to play across the offensive line. That's going to link to another article that we're going to look up here in a second. Talk among draft experts continues to be what position he would play in the NFL, guard or tackle. Savaiinaea registered time at left and right tackle as well as right guard in his 3 seasons at Tucson. In his first season with the Wildcats, he played 790 snaps at right guard, the most he's played at any position. Savaiinaea's blocking technique is his clear strength, but can improve on getting stronger, according to PFF. He can improve his strength. Savaiinaea could have a chance at sticking at right tackle for a zone rushing squad. In Eric Edams' top 100 list of draft prospects, the Arizona prospect is ranked at number 57. And what was he drafted? He was drafted 37 overall. So maybe a bit of a reach again. It appears the Dolphins are going to plug holes as opposed to go for best available. So I don't know if I agree with that strategy, but that's definitely what they look to be doing in this draft as a whole. They're looking to plug holes. All right. The Athletics named Brugler Savaiinaea as the 4th best guard, number 55 overall prospect. Brugler says he could stay at tackle, but his play style would best translate to guard. He had quite the draft combine, posting top 10 finishes among offensive linemen in the 40-yard dash, 4.95, 10-yard split, 1.72, and the shuttle, 4.12 seconds. That was third, and 8th, respectively. Yeah, Steelers maybe. We thought Steelers might take him yesterday. There have been a few more quarterbacks off the board. By the way, Jordan Reed of ESPN actually projected the Dolphins to pick him, not at that exact pick, but the Dolphins traded up to get him in that second round. So that's where people were thinking. Somebody else had him going to the Raiders in pick 37. And that's that they got the pick number right because the Dolphins picked him at pick 37. Others had him going number 50 to the Seahawks. So Arizona Cardinals are on the clock. Their pick is in. We're just waiting to hear what it is. Due up next is the Houston Texans. Now, I believe the Dolphins, unless they trade back in, do not. They traded their third round pick to move up and get Savanaya. So unless the Dolphins trade up, the Dolphins do not have another pick. Jordan Birch, edge, Oregon. That is who the Arizona Cardinals select. All right, on the clock is the Houston Texans. They will not be drafting a quarterback here. Yeah, the Dolphins have tons of late picks, so I'm not opposed. I seriously am not opposed to the Dolphins grabbing Shedeur Sanders here. I know they have other needs, but I think they need to bring in a legit quarterback to at least learn under Tua this year. I don't think they'll do it, but I'm not opposed to it. I think that I think the goal is to try to build all of the. I'm going to guess the Dolphins are going to grab a cornerback. They're going to grab a couple more offensive, defensive linemen. But really, once you get past the third round, it's pretty much a crapshoot. And kind of the whole NFL draft is as well. Jalen Noel, wide receiver, Iowa State, goes to the Houston Texans. All right. On the clock is the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, until further notice, Shedeur Sanders is the top-rated prospect that ESPN has. They have him ranked 35th overall. We're on to the third round. This is, I don't even know what pick number we're on. We're well into the 60s here. But they say for the Indianapolis Colts, Quincy Riley, cornerback out of Louisville, would be the best fit for the Colts. All right, so let's do some looking here. I want to try to figure out what pick, if there's no trades. O'Neal Cruz gets the leadoff walk off of Yamamoto in the Dodgers. So some of the upcoming picks, you got the Colts, the Bengals. They're not going to draft a quarterback. The Titans already got their quarterback. The Steelers. So if you're going, are you going to see a move here? Someone going to make a move? All right, the Indianapolis Colts select Justin Wally, cornerback out of Minnesota. Justin Wally, cornerback, Minnesota. So if a team is looking, I would assume the Steelers are in the market. I mean, how beautiful would that be for the Steelers if Shedeur just they had their eye on him? So if a team's going to hop in for either the Bengals or the Titans picks here, Bengals are on the clock. So I wonder if we're going to see a trade. O'Neal Cruz steals second on the Dodgers. Very nice. The pick is in for the Bengals, so they're not trading the pick. Is someone gonna jump in here, trade with the Titans? Titans already have their quarterback. Would someone jump in here to after this Bengals pick to nab Shador? Or is Shador Sanders, is he just someone nobody wants to deal with? Dylan Fairchild, offensive guard, Georgia. That's who the Cincinnati Bengals picked. Well, these picks are going significantly faster than last night, so that's nice. On the horizontal stream, we're posting them pick by pick now that we're all caught up with everything. Tennessee Titans already got their quarterback. Is someone going to trade up here? Are they going to trade up? All right, we got the draft cast going on the horizontal stream if you want to follow along there as well. The pick is in. No one's trading up with the Tennessee Titans here. So is Shador Sanders going to the Steelers next? We shall see. We shall see. The pick is in for the Titans. We're just waiting to see who the Titans end up picking. I appreciate everybody hanging out with us here tonight. We're going to try to bring you through the entire third round. Now, there are some extra picks at the end of this round. I think they're compensatory picks. So after the Eagles make their pick at the end of the pick 32, then you've got Vikings, Raiders, 49ers, Falcons, Jaguars. So this entire round will be 38 picks long, and that will bring us to 102 picks. That's where this will end for today. And then tomorrow will be rounds 4 through 7. And I don't know if I'm going to dive in and cover all of that tomorrow. We got a Mets game we're going to cover tomorrow from at 1 o'clock p.m. So if you're enjoying this coverage or baseball coverage, please make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe. We're on the journey to 300 subscribers. The pick is in for the Tennessee Titans. They just have not announced it yet. As soon as we have it, we will share it with you, and then we're going to be on Shador Sanders' watch. Pittsburgh Steelers seem like a very good, logical place to go. But we got to get this Tennessee Titans pick first. Pirates take a 1-0 lead on the Dodgers thanks to O'Neal Cruz. Stealing that base, got him in a scoring position. He was able to score on a single. We are still waiting for this Titans pick. They're so slow in bringing this one out. All right, Kevin Winston Jr., a safety out of Penn State. Kevin Winston Jr., safety out of Penn State, goes to the Tennessee Titans. So now all eyes on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Are they going to grab Shedeur Sanders here? I mean, there were rumors of Shedeur trying to go in the top 10 yesterday. And now we're like halfway through the third round. I don't know if I can remember a player dropping this much. At least a very talked about player. So are they going to do it? Do the Steelers grab Shedeur? Unless there's somebody you really love, I think you got to do it if you're the Steelers here. You need a quarterback. Your quarterback room looks very gross. But let's see. Can they do it? Will they? The pick is in. The pick is in for the Steelers. Are the Steelers going to do Shedeur Sanders paired with Mike Tomlin? I feel like that's a good combo. We'll see. Like the suspense is mounting. ESPN says Caleb Johnson, a running back out of Iowa, is the best match. And that's who they did. They skipped on Shedeur. Caleb Johnson, the running back out of Iowa. So ESPN got that one right. Shedeur continues to drop. This is crazy. Did he just alienate everybody? I have no idea. All right, where's the next likely pick that he's going to go? Let's find a team. So the current pick now is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Pats, maybe? Yeah, because they're due up in 2. The ESPN doesn't have a quarterback as a need there. What teams need a quarterback in the draft? You know what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to Shedeur Sanders. He's going to get drafted by a team like the Eagles or the Chiefs. He's going to get drafted by a team that just is like, you know what? We don't want to have to face him, so we're going to draft him and we're going to raise him up. Jacob Parrish, cornerback from Kansas State, goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jacob Parrish, cornerback. On the clock is the Patriots. Why do I feel like if the Dolphins pick him, he'll be a bust? Oh, there's a trade. There is a trade. The Kansas City Chiefs just traded with the New England Patriots. Doesn't this feel like a Chiefs-Eagles type of move? Just grab him. Grab him, put him on the bench behind Mahomes. What's Mahomes' contracts? Anxious to see who the Packers take. Yeah. So far, Matthew Golden. This is who the Packers have taken, a wide receiver out of Texas, and Anthony Belton, offensive tackle out of North Carolina State. That's who the Packers have picked so far. You probably know that. Do you like those picks? Selection is made. No, they did not go Shador. They went Noel Williams, a cornerback. Cornerback out of Cal. All right, on the clock is the Chargers. Chargers do not need a quarterback. Okay, Kansas City Chiefs. I gotta type this because I missed part of it. Round 3, pick 21. Who did they pick? It was Noel Williams, cornerback. Here we go, cornerback Noel Williams. All right, on the clock is the Los Angeles Chargers. On deck are your Green Bay Packers. So I don't know. I mean, I'm feeling like, yeah. Where else? Let's see. Here's an article. Which team should draft a quarterback? I'm just going to go backwards in this. Number 1, they had the Cleveland Browns. This is a USA Today article. They said Sanders is cooked, Daniel. Yeah. Did he like mess up his interview or something like that? I don't know. I mean, the Browns have yet to draft a quarterback. They do have a pick in the 3rd round. USA Today said they are the number 1 most important. But I don't know if I buy that. Like, you know, LeBron James got Bronny Jr. into it. I I don't know. Like, I understand to kind of bring there's certain teams I would not want him to go to, but there's got to be something more than just that. Like, I understand there's lots of hype around him because of his dad. All right, Tennessee Titans. They picked their quarterback. We're just trying to figure out who would pick. All right, Chargers pick is in. Oh yeah, for sure. No, I mean the lower it drops, like as a Dolphins fan, it gets more and more curious to me. I would not mind the Dolphins trading up into the 3rd round to grab Shador. Throw him on the bench for a year. Let him learn under Tua. Either Tua's going to be our guy for many years to come or not, and this is kind of Tua's make or break year. I think some seasoning, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't think the Dolphins will do it, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'm sure Dolphins fans in general would hate it, but I'm here for the chaos. I am here for the chaos. Pick is in for the Chargers. We're just waiting to see what it is. Pick 22 in the 3rd round. New York Giants, they got their quarterback. Pittsburgh Steelers have not gotten their quarterback yet. This Did the Saints get a quarterback? They did. They got their quarterback. That was Tyler Show out of Louisville. The Los Angeles Rams is an interesting one here. We're waiting for this Chargers pick. They USA Today has the Jets possibly needing a quarterback, so I don't know. Jamari Caldwell, a defensive tackle out of Oregon. That's who the Chargers selected. Jamaree, Jamari Caldwell. All right, on the clock is the Green Bay Packers, Casey. Let's see who the Packers are going to do. The Fighting Tom Grassies, are they going to make Packers fans happy? There's no way they go Shedeur Sanders, right? They got Jordan Love. You know, I like Shedeur Sanders is maybe one of those guys you like better the further he drops, simply because it's like you know he's going to want to prove everybody wrong. Like, I want a guy who's got a chip on his shoulder. So ESPN says Joshua Farmer, the defensive tackle out of Florida State, is the best fit for the Packers. Would you be upset if they took Shedeur, Casey? Is that something that you would or would you, is it like deep enough in the draft you're like, hey, it's never bad to have somebody stashed on the bench? Yeah, 86th pick. You'd pass. Yeah, I mean, I can't see the Packers doing it. But a lot of it comes down to holes to fill. That's why I wonder if like a team like the Chiefs or the Eagles would consider it. You know, you're a pretty complete team. You have this chance to get a guy in super cheap. I mean, it's coming even cheaper than you thought because you get a third round guy. All right, so let's look at the Bears pick for you, Daniel. I'll tell you who they picked. We're going to keep an eye on things here too. Let's go Chiefs. Yeah, the Chiefs just traded up to get their guy here. The Packers pick is in. We'll post it as soon as we have it. So the Bears picked in the first round Colston Loveland, a tight end out of Michigan. They had the 10th pick. He was ranked overall number 7, so that seems like it was a good thing. And another wide receiver. Let's see, Savion Williams, wide receiver out of TCU. Yeah, the Packers want some weapons. That is like so unpacker like. All right, Savion Williams. Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. I could see a world where they would nab Shedeur. I don't think that's a third round world for the Jaguars. They have too many holes to fill. So I don't think they will, but I could see like if he fell to the 4th or 5th round. Because I can't imagine the Jaguars are convinced that Trevor Lawrence is the man. He's had good seasons. He's had bad seasons. I can see a world with that. All right. Sorry, let me get back to the Bears here. Their second pick was Luther Burden Jr., a wide receiver out of Missouri. He was ranked 45th overall. So they went tight end, wide receiver. And then they followed it with offensive tackle and defensive tackle. They got Ozzie Trapilo out of Boston College, Daniel, and then Shamar Turner, a defensive tackle out of Texas A&M. The offensive tackle was ranked 74th, but that defensive tackle they got, he was ranked 43rd overall, and they got him with like the 62nd pick. So that looks like a pretty good steal there. Yep. No, no Sanders to the Steelers. All right. Jaguars pick is in. Yeah, if you see, I'll post it up there really quick so you can see it, Redman. They picked Noel Williams. All right. The Jaguars select Caleb Ransaw, a cornerback out of Tulane. So congrats to Caleb on getting drafted. That his overall rank was 200. That's a really big reach. I mean, they got a cornerback. They must really like him. That's a big jump. I guess it helps the Jaguars are on the clock again. They have back-to-back picks. But so Jaguars are back on the clock again. It looks like they had a plan because their pick is in now here again. The Rams are on deck, and the Rams could consider a quarterback. That was in the USA Today article. So there is a world where the Rams could go Shador. That might be actually a good thing. So you get the Los Angeles, so you get the big market for Shador, which is great for him. You know, it's West Coast still, which I know Colorado's not exactly West Coast, but it's more West than East. And he gets to sit behind Stafford for a year. So I could see that. I could see that. I can also see worlds where Shador is on the board going into round 4 too. So Jaguars have back-to-back picks here. Their second pick is in, has not yet been announced. His dad would be mad. I mean, here's the thing though. Like Dion has always made the best of being in situations. Like, yeah, you want to control, but Dion would just always play well. Wyatt Millum, offensive guard, West Virginia, went to the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, so if you're on Shador watch, Los Angeles Rams could consider a quarterback. It's got to be so hard. There's so many really good players and players who have good potential. And these teams have so many needs. So would I trade up for Shador? Probably not. Not as Dolphins GM. I don't know who the Rams have picked, but all their needs are still like needed. But I don't know. Do we see the quarterback going here? At a certain point in time, the risk keeps going down with Shador, right? Like there's a risk. It's riskier taking Shador as in the first round as like the number 2 overall pick versus taking him in the third round, where it's like, look, especially if you don't even have to trade up any of your draft capital, and you still get Shador, it's like if it works, great. If not, you can move on in a year and draft another quarterback next year. So I mean, I think there's plenty of teams, and I do like the idea of a team that's looking for a quarterback but doesn't need them this year. That's why I like the Rams here as a possibility. I think having a team that has it Yeah, but look, dads want their kids to have what's best, and I understand that. All right, pick is in for the Rams here. On deck is the Ravens, so unless someone trades up, Shador will not go to the Ravens. I don't think. Unless he does. Do you bring Shador in under Lamar Jackson? Jackson's signed for a while, though. I don't know. I feel like this is it. This is the storyline of the draft. Does Shador go to the Rams? Yeah, if I were the Chiefs, I would consider him. You get to bring in a backup to learn under Mahomes. Obviously, you don't want injury, but just in case. And you can always potentially trade him down the road too, with a year of seasoning and learning under Mahomes. All right, the pick is in for the Rams, so we're just waiting to see. Waiting to see who do the Rams pick. Do they go Shador? Some of the other quarterbacks still on the board after Shador is Jalen Milroe out of Alabama, Will Howard out of Ohio State, Quinn Ewers out of Texas, Kyle McCord out of Syracuse, Riley Leonard out of Notre Dame, Dylan Gabriel, Oregon, Curtis Rourke, Indiana. So there's a few others, but so we are waiting for the Los Angeles Rams pick. Rams are on the clock. The Rams definitely could pick a quarterback. Give them a year under Stafford. And I think they have Garoppolo too, right? So he wouldn't even have to. You wouldn't even have to suit him up. You could play him as your number 3. You could run your scout team or something. Waiting for this pick for the Rams. We're waiting for the pick for the Rams. Is it gonna be Shador? Is it gonna be Shador? Pick is in. It's time to stand up. I'm getting tired. It's getting late. So we're gonna raise the desk. Don't worry, I'm gonna stand up with you guys in a second. Oh. You say no? Redman says no. They do not. They go Josiah Stewart, edge, out of Michigan. So once again, Shador gets passed over. Is he gonna go undrafted completely? There's no way he goes undrafted. Is there? Is there a world where Shador gets drafted by nobody? All right, Baltimore Ravens on the clock. Baltimore Ravens are on the clock. ESPN says their best fit is Jalen Royals, a wide receiver out of Utah State. And then picking up on deck is the Seattle Seahawks. But as we speak, it is the Ravens pick. Yeah, he has been best available for a bit. And he was close to, he's top 5 available for even longer than that. So we shall see. By the way, the Pirates and Paul Skeens lead Yamamoto and the Dodgers 1-0. That's through 1.5 innings. All right, the Ravens pick Emory Jones Jr., offensive tackle out of LSU. The Seattle Seahawks are on the clock. Emory Jones Jr. That's the type of pick I would expect the Ravens to make. They just keep stuffing offensive line, defensive line. All right. And the Saints are on deck. The Saints have already picked their quarterback. They skipped over Shador. Got somebody else. Seahawks. What are this? Let me look at this USA Today article. What do they say? Yeah, they have. That's not a bad choice here because I don't trust Darnold. Do you trust Darnold? This is what USA Today says about the Seahawks. They have them as the ninth most likely to draft a quarterback. It says, yes, they just signed Darnold, 27 to a 3-year pact worth more than $100 million. And yet, from a fiscal standpoint, the Hawks could easily dump him next year if he regresses to the disappointing form he exhibited earlier in his itinerant career. And a player like Sanders, if he slides on day one of the draft, could be enticing, given GM John Schneider now owns 5 of the first 92 selections following the trades of quarterback Geno Smith and wide receiver DK Metcalf. Backups Sam Howell and Jaron Hall aren't signed beyond this season. Ooh, KC, you might be onto something. That's a good situation again, too, where you don't have to. No, they do go quarterback, but not Shador. Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. So you were right on the quarterback, KC, but wrong on which quarterback. Man, what did Shador do? Well, now I just feel like Shador needs to go to the Cowboys. My goodness. Jalen Milroe was ranked 81st overall. Shador Sanders ranked 35th overall. I don't think anyone imagined a world. Yeah, I mean, this is by far the most interesting thing of the draft for me. By far. All right, so the Saints are on the clock. Now the Browns are due next, and they need a quarterback. Oh, man, I feel bad. If Shador goes to the Browns, he might as well just retire. What a death hole for quarterbacks. Saints already picked their quarterback. They got their man, so there will be no quarterback pick here unless someone trades for this pick. Best match, according to ESPN, is Jalen Royals out of Utah State. Same guy they recommended for the last pick. Milroe's a fine pick for the Seahawks there, too. It's kind of like the safe pick. If I'm Sam Darnold, I feel like if you draft Shador, there's going to be so much pressure to get him into games. Casey, do you know which pick Tom Grassi gets to announce? Has that been announced yet? Because he's announcing one of the picks for the Packers. So that's super cool. I'm excited for him. Got to go Browns. Let's see how many more picks When do the Browns pick next? Let's go rounds. Yeah, I heard. I'm assuming it's going to be like a late pick. You know, they're going to do all the celebrities and stuff. So you go, it's Saints, Browns. You got Pats are up next, Eagles, Vikings, Raiders, 49ers, Falcons, Texans. I still like the Dolphins here. I mean, the Dolphins' backup is Zach Wilson. I I don't feel great there. All right, on the clock is the Saints here. Their pick is in. It will not be Shador because they already drafted a quarterback. This is crazy draft night. Crazy, crazy draft night. And sadly, there's no Dolphins pick scheduled. So unless the Dolphins trade back into the third round, Dolphins traded their third round pick away to move up in the second round. I guess they're happy with what they got. Jonas Senker, safety, New Orleans Saints. Jonas Senker, safety, New Orleans Saints. All right. So it's Browns. Is this going to be it? Is this going to be the Shador Sanders? When is the Browns' next pick? If they don't take him here, that's the question. How long would they have to wait? Ooh, they'd have to make it through like another 30 to 32 picks. They have grabbed already defensive tackle, linebacker, running back, tight end. Their needs still are quarterback, offensive tackle, and a wide receiver. So quarterback, what is it? Quarterback, offensive tackle, wide receiver. After Shador, Jalen Royals from Utah State's a wide receiver. Jalen Lynn from Virginia Tech. Ty Felton from Maryland. So three of the top six of best available according to ESPN are wide receivers. So I'm assuming you got to go offense here. If that's you got those many guys stacked at the top, pick your favorite offensive weapon. Sounds like the right play here. Royals, Lane, Felton, or if you want to go quarterback, you go Shador. Or is there some other quarterback that's well now that Milrose off? Quinn Ewers, Will Howard. The pick is in. The pick is in. Are they going to do it? Are the Cleveland Browns going to ruin Shador Sanders' career before it even starts? This is so a Cleveland Browns move. Every part of my gut says the Cleveland Browns go Shador here. Like, just do it. Do it. What are the Cleveland Browns going to do? Are they going to do it? The pick is in. They got to go wide receiver or quarterback here, I think, though. There's 3 good wide receivers at the top of the draft board. They got Royals, Lane, Felton, or Shedeur Sanders, or if they really want to go against the grain, go Quinn Ewers. Something like that. Patriots are on the clock next. Pick is in for the Browns. We're just waiting. Come on. Is this Shedeur time? Is this time? Is this time for the son of Dion? I mean, is he this overrated by analysts? Or did he do something in his interviews that caused him to drop this far? Or is it just, I mean, I've seen worse head cases than Shedeur Sanders get drafted higher than this. So I don't know. Pick is in for the Browns. We're waiting to see if it's going to be Shedeur, a wide receiver, or something else crazy. Dylan Gabriel, quarterback out of Oregon. My goodness. Another quarterback off the board, and it's not Shedeur. Another quarterback. So crazy. That is so crazy. My goodness. I'm loving the drama of this. The internet's going to be like wild. A lefty QB. Hey, my son's got a chance. My son's got a chance. So I would keep an eye. I mean, on this USA Today, they have the Patriots at 18. You're a lefty too? My 2 youngest both turned out to be lefties. I have no idea how. Well, I'm pretty sure my youngest just followed my son, and she just copied him. But yeah, so we have 2 lefties in the house. So we try not to have them bump. The one lefty sits on the end of the table, so he doesn't bump anybody. The other one's small enough that it doesn't matter too much. Do the Patriots go quarterback here? Probably. Under the Belichick era, I would like that, but I don't know. I mean, is there any place? So the Browns are off the board. Titans are off the board. Giants are off the board. It's got to be Steelers. Saints pick their quarterback, right? Yep, Saints have their quarterback. Jared Wilson, center, Georgia, goes to the New England Patriots. So no quarterback there. You got the Eagles. So, yeah, this USA Today article. So the team's still available, looking for quarterback. Steelers, Rams, Jets. I don't think did the Jets pick a quarterback? I don't think they did. How's it going, Theo? Thanks for hanging out with us here tonight. So we are watching and waiting. We're on Shedeur Sanders alert. Ooh, the Falcons. The Falcons just traded up. Falcons took this pick from the Eagles. This will not be a quarterback here. They got Penix and Cousins. Now they could trade Cousins. You know, there'd be teams that Cousins could start on. They don't. They go Xavier Watts, safety out of Notre Dame. So the Falcons traded up to grab that one. Xavier Watts, safety, Notre Dame. Houston Texans are on the clock. The third round is we're running out of picks in this third round. There's 6 picks left. It's Texans, Raiders, 49ers, Eagles, Texans. Have the Raiders picked a quarterback? It is just amazing to me. All this work these pundits put in and how much they're wrong on so much of it. So they picked a running back, a wide receiver, and a cornerback. This is what USA Today says. Yeah, they just extended newly acquired Geno Smith. So they have Geno Smith through the 2027 season still. He'll turn 35. His arrival seems to signal that the new regime views Aiden O'Connell more as a reliable backup than a starter. Carter Bradley spent most of his rookie season on the practice squad. Taking a young quarterback at number 6 seems fairly out of the question. But the Silver and Black might have to consider players like Tyler Show, who's already taken, or Kyle McCord, who's not taken on day 2. And, of course, Shedeur is also still available. Texans take Jalen Smith, cornerback out of USC. Yeah, I mean, we got Raiders here. Raiders. I feel like when you have back-to-back picks, you can make one be a little riskier. But, I mean, Shedeur Sanders' career is over with the Raiders too, right? That's not where he would want to go. There's a lot of places I would not want to go. I mean, of course, if I have a chance to be quarterback in the NFL, you take it. But if you had your choice, there's so many of these teams that I'm like, Pittsburgh Steelers, I like that Steelers. Just kind of thinking through all the options. I like the Rams to bring them in under Stafford for a year. I like the Steelers to pair him with Tomlin. You know, I just feel like, you know, if Shedeur Sanders could kind of be in that Cordell Stewart mode, that maybe that's like the type of quarterback that could work with Tomlin. Yeah, let's say I'm gonna call it. The Raiders are gonna do Shedeur in with one of these 2 picks. You got back-to-back picks, so you can take one, which is your need, and then you spend the other one on the go for all pick. I like it. I'm going with it, Casey. We're calling it right here. They won't do it. They won't do it here. They'll do it with a second pick. I'm calling it. I'm gonna sit back down again. I think they'll pick whoever they like the best here. We'll see. We'll see. So I'm going to guess they're going to take, best available or whoever they like the most here. ESPN says they need a safety or an offensive guard. I guess they're pick 2 of the 2 in a row. Pick 35 in the round 3. It seems like you're not going to get lambasted because it's not like because you have 2 picks back to back, you can risk it here. Like, I know logically that doesn't really make sense, but to a fan base, you can say, look, we already got, this is the Raiders' 4th pick. 1. Yeah. So you get your 4th pick. You've already made, this is your 4th and 5th pick. And then you have 2 more picks in the 4th round, 3 more picks in the 6th round. That's assuming they're actually looking to get a quarterback. But if they are, then I think that makes sense. Take the guy you like here that you think is the solid contributor. And then you're like, well, look, we had 3 picks in the 3rd round. We're not wasting a pick here. We're investing the last pick in the round because this is a trade-up pick. We're waiting. The pick is in for the Raiders. The first of 2. They have back-to-back picks. They have picks 35 or 34 and 35. Picks 34 and 35 of the 3rd round. There's only 38 picks total. So after these 2 Raiders picks, unless there's a trade, it's 49ers, Eagles, Vikings. Those are the next 3. That's the next 3 picks that when we're waiting for pick 34 from the Raiders. The pick is in, has not yet been announced. Is anybody reaching up, do you think, to try to nab Shador at the bottom of the 3rd round? If the Raiders don't take him with one of these 2? Appreciate everybody hanging out. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe. We're on the journey to 300 subscribers. MetropoliFins, YouTube's smallest New York Mets and Miami Dolphins channel. My name is Craig, and I'm excited to be with you here tonight. Even though the Dolphins only had 1 pick in the 2nd round, they traded their 3rd round pick away to move up for that. Caleb Rogers, offensive tackle out of Texas Tech, goes to the Raiders. So, that's the responsible pick, right? Now, with your 2nd pick, do it. Let's go. Shador to the Raiders. Calling it right here. Shador to the Raiders. Shador to the Raiders. Let him sleep well tonight. He did not sleep well last night. And if he doesn't get picked here, he's going to sleep horribly tonight, too. Shador to the Raiders. I'm calling it. I'm calling it. The timer is ticking, Raiders. Wonder if they're trying to trade out the pick. I don't know. I don't know. Are they trying to trade out the pick? We're waiting. The pick is in. No, they do not. They go Charles Grant, offensive tackles. So they go back-to-back offensive tackles. Charles Grant, offensive tackle from William and Mary. So it tells you what they think of their offensive line if they picked back-to-back offensive tackles. Well, that might be it. I mean, unless the team trades up, is there anybody else that we're thinking is going to hop in here? Can't see the 49ers. I mean, I don't, from an Eagles fan perspective, I wouldn't mind it. Who do the Eagles have as a backup? Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And Tanner McKee. That's who the Eagles have behind Hurts. They've got the 49ers have Mac Jones backing up Brock Purdy. But I mean, I don't see that. And then the Vikings are going to go with JJ McCarthy. So unless there's a trade up, I think Shador's going to round 4. Unless there's a trade, I just don't see any of these teams. Not in the 3rd round. I don't see any of these teams spending a 3rd round pick on him. That is crazy. By the way, we're not going to hang out super late here tonight once this round is over. I'm tired. It's been a long day. I don't want to fall asleep on the stream just talking to you guys, but I do appreciate you being here. We'll be here all the way through. Pick is in for the 49ers. So is someone going to try to jump back into the 3rd round? Yeah, see, I'm starting to get dozy. I'm feeling my eyes close. Let's go. Let's go, 49ers. Who are you going to pick? Let's look at the top of the next round. Let's look at the top of the 4th round relative to let's see who's picking first. Titans don't need a quarterback. Jaguars could draft, don't have to. Giants don't need a quarterback. Patriots could, don't have to. Jaguars, again, same thing. Raiders pick again with a 6th pick the next round. Bears, Jets, Broncos, Saints, 49ers, Panthers, Cardinals, Dolphins. I don't know. Clearly, the demand for Shador far trails the supply of Shador. There's one Shador, but nobody really interested in him. At least not at the moment. I'm getting tired. I'm getting dozy here, everybody. Getting dozy. We're waiting for the 49ers pick to come in. It looks like it's going to be a Shador Sanders free 2nd and 3rd round. Man, the internet skeptics are going to be like all over that. We're waiting for This pick, 49ers pick is in. See what we got. See what we got. And after this, after the 49ers, it is, oh, the Broncos just traded up. I forget who was in that spot, but was that the Eagles that was there? The Eagles love just trading down. Upton Stout, cornerback, Western Kentucky, goes to the 49ers. So, well, at least one shows Eagles, one shows Broncos. But I think it was the Eagles pick. And then they traded it to the Broncos. All right, so Upton Stout from Western Kentucky, he goes there. Yeah, the Broncos trade up here to get this spot from the Eagles. The Eagles are really good at just trading down, stockpiling picks, and trading back. And I don't think there's any world where the Broncos just traded up for Shedeur. All right, so the Broncos traded up for this, so there's somebody they like here. ESPN says the best match for the Broncos is Joshua Farmer, defensive tackle out of Florida State. I think we're going to go through the whole round. And no Shedeur. That's my guess. Vikings are due to pick next. It's not an impossible pick, but I would say it's very unlikely that they would go quarterback. All right, the pick is in for the Denver Broncos. They traded up because they had somebody. Savion Jones, edge, LSU. That's who the Broncos picked. That means there is one pick left in the second round. And unless they trade it, that pick belongs to the Minnesota Vikings. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. Who's that new man going to be? Oh, this is it. This is the last pick of the third round of the draft. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're going to roll here as soon as this is over. But appreciate you. We'll do a draft summary video, probably at least covering the rest of the Dolphins picks tomorrow at some point, but that'll be probably late. We're going to do live Mets game coverage tomorrow around 1 o'clock Eastern or 4 o'clock Eastern. I forget what time it is. Maybe it's 4 o'clock Eastern. All right. Vikings on the clock. The pick is in. This is the last pick. They need a lot of stuff. They need a cornerback, defensive tackle, safety, wide receiver. See if they can carve out one of those positions. The pick will not be traded. So the Vikings are making the pick. No trade. I can't imagine that they would go quarterback here with all the holes that they're showing. We are waiting to see. This is the last pick of the third round of the NFL draft. Minnesota Vikings, their pick is in. They go with Ty Felton, wide receiver out of Maryland. Ty Felton. So through 3 rounds, Shedeur Sanders is still available. He's going to the 4th round of the draft. So now the question is, will he even get drafted? I think that's a legitimate question you can ask after the first 3 rounds are in the books. Will he even get drafted? Or now that we're talking 4th round, is he the type of guy that you're a little more interested in? I don't know. Because it's like if you're not going to pay him the big dollars or spend the high draft pick, then all of a sudden it's like, well, that becomes a little less risky. So Shedeur Sanders, excuse me, Shedeur Sanders is still on the draft board going into day 3 of the draft, rounds 4 through 7 tomorrow. All right, let me just give you a Dolphins overview here really quick. Kenneth Grant Jr. picked by the Dolphins yesterday, number 13 overall. Today, Jonah Savania. All right, and that was it. So the Dolphins traded up. They traded their 3rd round pick and their 2nd round pick and a 4th to get this 2nd and a different 4th or something. So that's who the Dolphins have picked. 1 offensive guard, 1 defensive tackle. All right. Looking to tomorrow, the Dolphins have the 14th pick in the 4th round, the 5th pick in the 5th round, the 13th pick in the 5th round, the 19th pick in the 5th round, the 8th pick in the 7th round, the 15th pick in the 7th round, and this 37th pick in the 7th round. So there are 7 spots currently that the Dolphins are planning on drafting. Now they can trade up, they can trade back, all sorts of things, but that's what we have. I would expect there to be filling in lots of roster holes here. Maybe they'll trade a few of the picks back for next year or something like that. But with that being said, this is MetropoliFins. My name is Craig. Appreciate all you guys. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm exhausted. I don't want to fall asleep on camera because that'd be embarrassing. But I appreciate everybody. I hope that your team is drafting well and finishes their draft strong tomorrow. So that being said, let's go Miami, and let's see what draft picks come out tomorrow. And good luck, Shedeur Sanders. All right, have a good night, everybody.